Hey everyone, how you doing? It's time for the PDG Advertising Podcast number 29. Welcome. How you doing? It's Friday. Today started off really well. We had there's a website that we've been developing for a while. We did the web design for it recently, and I handed it over to the developer a couple of days ago. And we got the first. So what happens whenever you get the first view of a website that a developer has done? They put it up on what I would call a staging area. And what that does is it's not on the actual domain itself. And I suppose it depends. If there's a website already on the domain that the customer doesn't want to lose just yet, then the new website goes up on a staging area on a different domain so that you can look at it and see what it looks like and make sure it's right before it goes live onto a real domain. There is another way to do it where you can have, for example, in WordPress, where you have coming soon mode, where you have to log in to the website in order to see the progress on it. So your average customer coming across the site will see a coming soon mode, can be called a cloaking mode, and it can what with that is customers go to the website www.acme.com and they get coming soon, but in the background you can be working away and getting your website right. In this case, our developer has put the new website up on a staging site, and I reviewed it today, and I think he's done really, really well. You got to be careful in web development, because if you don't know what you're doing, or if you hire someone and you're not sure roughly how long something will take, you can really get scammed. I have seen people charging like £1,000 for a one-page website that you could get done in about 2 or 3 hours of focused work. And this week I used it was a new developer actually, and it's because some of our regular developers were, I think, padding the project a little bit. And I think, it's really weird. Like, what value is something if you don't have a clue what you're doing? Then maybe it is of value to spend more on it, as long as you get the right product in the end. But I know what things cost. I know how long things take. I've seen people do it, and I've got a wealth of experience behind me in that, and I want to be able to pass that value onto my customers. So shopping around and being a little bit more choosy as to the focus and the time being spent on projects has allowed us to complete something way quicker than we would have done before. Way quicker. And that's a good thing. So it really went well. The website, one of the things whenever you're doing website development is you got to make sure that the website developer knows how important the design is. So the first half of an overall site design and upload and go live is getting the design right, and the customer signs off the design. So whenever you are getting it developed by someone, and if they deviate from the design, like colors or placement or alignment or anything like that, it can be a big problem. And if it means that you have to go back to them and say, look, why are you deviating from the plan? How can we get this back on track? Whereas this developer knew the importance of that and focused on getting the website as close as possible. Now, it can be difficult sometimes to get, the right fonts, or, maybe even the images to look right on the page. It can sometimes be difficult. And then don't forget, you're contending with so many different screen sizes, as we've said before. But this new developer has done it really, really well. Now, what did happen though was, when you move from a flat image to an image to a website, they're different things. So they simply do look different. And sometimes you nearly need to see on a screen and start playing with it a little bit to if it's right or not. And rarely will you ever get it 100% right. So some feedback has gone back to the developer. He's done the initial parts really quickly and it's looking really well. So this website is in the final stages of getting developed and getting prepared for customers to come onto it. And I suppose it's important to take that step back and say, well, what are we trying to do? What is this website about? And fundamentally, this website has two main points. You know what? It has three main points, and those three main points are the same as my business goals and our business goals of customer growth, quality of service, and brand awareness. Those are the three things that this website is all about. And if we can put a tick beside those three things, then we'll have done a great job for that customer. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that goes. I think what I'm going to do next week is instigate a process by which we do a review, a quality review of the website whenever it goes out. And as a team in the office, the core team, myself and Anthony, will go and have a look, and we'll make sure that it looks right. Can you imagine if you were a customer? I mean, if I was a customer and I had, two people taking an objective look at my website or my project, I would feel very valued. And that's what we are going for. We want our customers to feel valued. It's very, very important. So I'll keep you guys updated. I'll let you know how it goes, and we'll see how happy our customer is with the website whenever it's done. So I was really impressed today. Anthony was able to develop up a graphic for the customer journey. I'm not convinced that I'm going to be able to get the customer journey graphic out to everyone on Instagram and on Facebook and on our website today. I think it's going to be next week before it comes out. We've got a couple of sales meetings next week, so I'm going to be trying to get that ready for those sales meetings, because it really depicts what we're trying to do for our customers. And what is that? And I think it's important that we, mention it a lot on the PDG Advertising Podcast, which is what you're in on right now. And that customer journey is it's what path people take with your business, and it's what I've noticed from 4 years of running my own business, and I suppose 13 years of working in businesses, maybe even more than that, maybe 16 years of working in businesses now. What did I start off doing? Started off working at my uncle's farm. That was interesting. He had a mushroom farm. Very grateful to my uncle John for letting me come and work for him. I'm sure I was useless, but I was probably about 15, 16, maybe younger. I don't know what age you're supposed to be whenever you're working on a mushroom farm, but I tell you what, I don't think mushroom farming was for me. And then it was 16 or 17, I got a job in Sainsbury's. That was the worst. Stacking shelves. It wasn't the worst, I suppose, but it's just a bit soulless, bit repetitive. Not really something I think that I would want to do for the rest of my life. But having said that, if I had to do something, then I would do that, and if I couldn't do anything else, I would do that. I suppose I should be pretty grateful for being able to do that when other people aren't able to do anything, or other people aren't able to work. So that was quite an interesting period doing at Sainsbury's. Like one of the lads in the biscuit aisle, used to eat a biscuit and then said that it was broken, and then he would put it in the broken area at the back, and every so often he'd go and have he'd go and eat one of the biscuits. So then I went to work in a bar, a couple of bars in Lurgan. That was good, quite fast paced, and then I eventually went to university. I kind of messed that up. Didn't do very well at that, and I then was still working in bars and that, and then got kicked out of university. And my mum and dad said, "Well, you're gonna have to go to work now," and I did. Found a job in. God, I found a job in. First of all, I found a job in Portadown, little rural town, I guess, in Armagh in Northern Ireland, and that was answering phones for BT. And that was a boring job. I mean, people were asking me, it was like directory inquiries. I guess you don't need directory inquiries anymore. There's probably a whole job that doesn't even need to exist now. And I did that, and it was boring. It was really boring. I was falling asleep during that. Like literally falling asleep on my shift. I'm being pulled into disciplinaries for taking too much break. And what I would have been doing, I would have been going down to the smoking room and smoking. God, that place was pretty strict for such a manual, boring job. But again, I'd do it again. Well, I suppose you can't do it again because there is no director inquiries, but I would do it again if I had to do it again. But then I got what I'd call my first proper job in Belfast. I worked for a big contact centre. It was called Gem at the time. Then it got taken over by a company called Concentrics. And then I moved to an advertising agency. And then I set up my own business. So in that, I've seen quite a few customer journeys. And I've built up an experience of quite a few customer journeys. And a customer journey, there's so many parts to it, and it's so important, and it's everything and it's nothing as well. So the customer journey, like an example of one is when someone, how did BT directory and directory services make their money? Someone knew to call them. They got charged money per minute to inquire about. It sounds so alien now that you can just Google it, but there was this service in 20 years, in 100 years, whenever someone's listening to this, whenever Peter the 100th is listening to this, your great-great-granda used to sit on a phone in a building, grey building, and people would ring him up and ask him what the number was for another business. So it was a business that told other businesses what the number was for other businesses. Basically Google in real life. It was real life people in Google, but using phones. So instead of searching on Google, you do phones. Now I don't know what the VR equivalent of Google will be in the future, but basically an information exchange. But the customer journey is one of someone heard about the BT phone number to call, and they then called it. Now, there's so many little interactions. So if I was rude to that customer, it would be bad. If I wasn't able to do my job right, it would be bad. It would ruin that overall customer journey, and that would be a problem. There's another one, I suppose, of working in the bar. Whenever someone came up, if I served them incorrectly, or if I don't know, if I ignored them or anything that like that, or I didn't treat them well, that part of the journey would be ruined. So what I've learned and what I enjoy doing and what the business is kind of built on is developing out the customer journey. And what we're trying to do is create a graphic that really depicts that. And the graphic that we've created has 5 stages in it. And it's got target market. So the people that you're trying to target, who are they? Do they know who you are? At this stage of the journey, they've never heard of you. This is the very first stage. And what we try and do at PDG Advertising is engage that audience. So if you sell paint and someone online has indicated that they're potentially going to be painting their house soon by liking, paint your house ideas at facebookpage.com or something like that. So if someone does that, then we want to get adverts in front of them saying, we sell paint, so would you like to look at ours? And you can review it. And that's the first part of the journey. So what we do is we try to affect that positively for customers. The next part is if the person maybe clicks on the advert or not, that's how we affect it positively. We put adverts in front of people and we get our message in front of people in whatever way we can to that target market. But people don't always buy on the first time. So what we then do is whenever they watch a video that we've put in front of them, or click on an advert, or like our page, or give us their email address, we then repeatedly get in front of those people again and again and again, so that we know that whenever they're ready to purchase, that they will purchase with us, maybe through discount codes, or just knowing that we have a quality product. Wouldn't you purchase from someone if you had built up a relationship with them? And that's what we're doing in that second stage, which is called engaged. The next stage is those people that have purchased. So people that are engaged with us maybe take that little extra move to make them purchase. So we might hit them with a big, hit them is a bit harsh. What we might do is we might put in front of them an offer that they can't refuse, like in the mafia films, where we give them a discount offer, or we say it's a flash sale, one time only, just to move them into that purchase part of the overall customer journey. And that's a great part of the journey where they buy, but it's not the only part, because we then need to move on to making sure that they were happy with their purchase, and finding out if they're not happy, and then working on getting them to purchase again, because the first sale is all very well, but the next sales are as important, because if you only sell something once to someone, you need to be selling Ferraris or something to make it worth your while. I think in order to sustain anything, you need repeat customers and repeat business, and that's something that's very important. So in order to do that, I think we need fans, we need raving fans, people that, there's a great book, I can't remember who the author is, it's called Raving Fans, and I would suggest that anybody reads that book. Really, really good. But that's what we're trying to do in that part of the customer journey. We're trying to make sure that people have a great experience, so that they share it, and then that they turn into more fans from that. So if someone recommends something to you, you'll maybe buy it. And using technology these days, we can actually try to copy the audiences that have purchased from us and create new audiences in Facebook called lookalike audience. You can do that in Google as well. So if you've got a database of 10,000 subscribers, we can scour the internet for people that are like them, and we can get in front of them as well. So that's another thing that we could do, and that leads us to a level of success, and that is the overall, customer journey, and that's what we're trying to positively affect in PDG Advertising. And what we say is we work to affect that positively. We deliver the right adverts at the right time. We try to move customers through each stage, and we report on success and adjust misses as we go. And that seems to be the formula for success for us at PDG Advertising, and being able to share that with people is a real joy. We also have some of the tools that we use on this document that we're creating. So we use Facebook, Instagram, Google Drive, Google Analytics, MailChimp, Google Chrome, LinkedIn, and Google Analytics. Did you think that Google Analytics was going to be something that you use as part of that journey? Well, it sure is, to analyze how things are going. Without that, you don't know how well you're doing. So that's a very important part. And that list of tools that we use, that's not exhaustive. That's not all we use, but they're all a big part of what we use. So I hope that you have enjoyed listening to me talk about the customer journey on the PDG Advertising Podcast. That's going to be it for today. It's Friday here in Belfast, cloudy Friday here in Belfast. Beautiful sunshine today. It's all cloudy and gloomy looking out there, but it's quite warm, which is good this time of the year. It's quite warm. I can still see the beautiful hills in the background. So I'm wishing you all a wonderful weekend. Laura, I really appreciate you getting all these podcasts and uploading them onto YouTube. You've been doing a great job. I look forward to seeing them in the next day or so, whenever I review over what we've been saying. We're going to be using all the podcasts for little snippets to put out there to the world, and to get people involved in this journey. So you guys that are faithful listeners right now, I really appreciate it. I'm hoping that we turn those into more in the future, but it's really promising even to have anybody listening. So again, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and you'll hear from me soon.